1986 United States 5 cents, Jefferson Nickel. Hook and introduction. What if a simple 5-cent coin from 1986 is sitting in your collection right now, and you have never checked the details that collectors look for? Welcome back to Coin Grove, where we explore interesting United States coins, world coins, rare varieties, mint errors, history, and collector values. Today we are taking a detailed look at the 1986 United States 5 cents, also known as the Jefferson Nickel. At first glance, this coin may look completely ordinary because millions of examples were produced, but there are still important details every collector should understand. In this video, we will examine its history, design, composition, weight, diameter, mint marks, production, varieties, errors, condition, and realistic collector value. We will also discuss why some 1986 nickels are worth more than their face value. Remember, a coin does not automatically become rare simply because it is old. Condition, scarcity, variety, and demand all matter when determining value. So before you spend or sell your 1986 nickel, stay with us through this complete Coin Grove guide. History of the Jefferson Nickel. The Jefferson Nickel was introduced by the United States Mint in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel as America's 5-cent coin. The coin was created to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and one of the country's founding fathers. By 1986, the Jefferson Nickel design had already been in production for almost 5 decades. The basic design remained familiar to generations of Americans who used nickels in everyday transactions. Jefferson's portrait appears on the obverse, while his historic home, Monticello, appears on the reverse. The 1986 issue therefore belongs to a long-running and important American coin series. Millions of these coins circulated through stores, vending machines, banks, and people's pockets. Because the coin was intended for everyday commerce, many examples experienced considerable wear. Nevertheless, collectors continue to study Jefferson Nickels because the series contains numerous dates, mint marks, varieties, and condition rarities. The 1986 nickel is an interesting representative of this important period in American coinage. Obverse design. The obverse of the 1986 Jefferson Nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The design was created by Felix Schlag, whose Jefferson portrait became one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. The word Liberty appears along the upper left portion of the coin, followed by a small star and the date 1986. The national motto "In God We Trust" is positioned along the left side of the portrait. Collectors carefully examine Jefferson's hair, cheek, jaw, and other raised areas when evaluating the condition of the coin. Circulated examples normally show wear on these high points, while uncirculated examples can retain much sharper details and original mint luster. The date is particularly important because it confirms that you have the 1986 issue. On regular Philadelphia and Denver circulation coins, the mint mark can be found to the right of Jefferson's portrait near the date. Looking closely at this small area is essential when identifying the specific issue. The obverse combines Jefferson's portrait with several important inscriptions that make identification straightforward. Reverse design. The reverse of the 1986 Jefferson Nickel features Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's famous Virginia home. Above the building are the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum and United States of America. Below Monticello are the words 5 cents, identifying the denomination. The word Monticello appears directly beneath the building. Monticello has been featured on the Jefferson Nickel since the series began in 1938. Although the appearance of the design has changed somewhat over the decades, collectors examine the building's architectural details when evaluating strike quality and condition. A sharply struck coin can show clear windows, columns, steps, and other details. On heavily circulated coins, many of these features become softer and less distinct. The reverse therefore provides useful information about both the coin's design and its condition. The combination of Jefferson's portrait and Monticello gives the nickel a strong connection to American history. Even though the denomination is only 5 cents, the coin carries a significant historical story. Composition and specifications. The standard 1986 Jefferson nickel is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This copper-nickel composition gives the coin its familiar silver-colored appearance while providing the durability needed for circulation. The coin has a face value of 5 cents, or 1/20th of a US dollar. Its standard weight is approximately 5 grams, and its diameter is approximately 21.2 millimeters. Unlike many other U.S. coins, the Jefferson nickel has a plain, smooth edge rather than a reeded edge. These physical specifications can help collectors identify genuine examples. A significant difference in weight or dimensions may justify further examination, although normal manufacturing tolerances must always be considered. The coin was designed to survive years of everyday handling. Its copper-nickel composition also distinguishes it from the silver-containing nickels produced during World War II. Understanding these basic specifications is an important first step for anyone collecting United States 5-cent pieces. 1986 Mint Marks. The United States Mint produced 1986 Jefferson Nickels at multiple facilities, and the mint mark is an important part of identification. Regular circulation examples were produced at the Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint, while proof examples were produced at San Francisco. A Philadelphia circulation nickel from 1986 carries no mint mark, while a Denver example carries a D mint mark. San Francisco proof coins carry an S mint mark and were manufactured specifically for collectors rather than normal circulation. When examining a 1986 nickel, look carefully at the area near the date and Jefferson's portrait to identify the mint mark. The mint of origin can affect the coin's desirability and production numbers. However, simply having a particular mint mark does not automatically make the coin rare. Collectors must consider mintage, condition, variety, and demand together. Learning to recognize mint marks is one of the most important skills for anyone building a Jefferson nickel collection. It also helps prevent confusion between different issues from the same year. Production and mintage. The 1986 Jefferson nickel was produced in large quantities for use in everyday American commerce. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 500 million regular nickels, while the Denver Mint produced more than 400 million. San Francisco also produced proof examples for collectors. These large production numbers explain why ordinary circulated 1986 nickels are generally not considered rare. Millions of examples entered circulation, and many survived because people frequently saved coins from their pocket change. However, large production does not mean every example is equally common in every condition. Finding a high-grade coin with excellent surfaces, strong strike characteristics, and attractive original luster can be considerably more difficult. This is why collectors distinguish between ordinary circulated examples and exceptional uncirculated specimens. Production numbers provide important historical information, but they should never be used alone to determine a coin's value. A coin with a large mintage can still become collectible in very high grades. This principle is especially important when evaluating modern U.S. coins. Paragraph 8. Is the 1986 nickel rare? One of the most important things to understand about the 1986 Jefferson nickel is that an ordinary circulated example is not generally a rare or high-value coin. Many internet videos and social media posts make claims about ordinary coins being worth enormous amounts of money, but collectors should always verify such claims with reliable sales information. A normal 1986 nickel found in pocket change will usually be worth around its face value, especially when it shows significant circulation wear. The situation changes when the coin has exceptional condition, a recognized variety, or a genuine mint error. High-grade certified examples can bring premiums because they are much harder to find in outstanding condition. Proof coins can also be more desirable to collectors because they were specially produced for collectors. Therefore, the key question is not simply, is this a 1986 nickel? But rather, which 1986 nickel is it, and what condition is it in? Understanding this difference can save collectors from unrealistic expectations. Always evaluate the actual characteristics of your individual coin before assigning a value. Paragraph 9. Valuable errors and varieties. Collectors should also inspect a 1986 Jefferson nickel for genuine mint errors. Possible errors can include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, die chips, broad strikes, and other striking abnormalities. A genuine mint error is created during the manufacturing process and should be clearly distinguishable from damage that happened after the coin left the mint. For example, scratches, dents, holes, and flattened areas caused by circulation are generally not valuable mint errors. Some errors can be worth significant premiums, but their value depends on the type and severity of the error as well as collector demand. Double dies and other varieties must also be carefully authenticated because many apparent forms of doubling are actually mechanical or machine doubling. If you believe your 1986 nickel has an unusual feature, photograph both sides clearly and compare it with established references. For particularly unusual pieces, professional authentication is the safest approach. Never assume that every strange-looking mark represents a rare error. Careful identification is essential before claiming a coin is valuable. Condition and grading. Condition is one of the most important factors in determining the collector value of a 1986 Jefferson nickel. A heavily circulated coin may show scratches, dull surfaces, flattened details, and general wear from years of use. An uncirculated coin, by contrast, should retain its original mint surfaces and should not show normal circulation wear. Collectors and grading companies use a standardized numerical grading system to describe condition. Coins in the mint state range can become particularly interesting when they reach very high grades. Jefferson Nickels are also known for strike quality differences, meaning two coins of the same date and mint may not look equally sharp. Collectors examine both the obverse and reverse carefully for marks and surface imperfections. The steps and architectural details of Monticello can be especially useful when evaluating the reverse. Original luster is another important characteristic of an uncirculated coin. If you believe your 1986 nickel is unusually attractive, professional certification may help establish its grade. Remember that cleaning a coin can seriously damage its collector appeal and should be avoided. Paragraph 11 Realistic Value Guide. The value of a 1986 Jefferson nickel depends primarily on its condition, mint, proof status, and any genuine errors or varieties. A normal circulated example is generally inexpensive because so many were produced. In many cases, such a coin is worth approximately its 5-cent face value, although a collector may pay a small premium for an attractive example. Uncirculated coins can bring more, particularly when they have strong luster and excellent surfaces. Proof examples from San Francisco are also collected and generally have a premium over ordinary circulation strikes. Exceptional certified specimens can be worth substantially more than face value because high-grade survivors are much scarcer. Genuine mint errors can also command premiums depending on their rarity and appearance. It is important not to quote one universal price for every 1986 nickel because values change according to grade and market demand. Recent auction results are a better guide than exaggerated online claims. Before selling an apparently valuable coin, compare it with verified examples in similar condition. This approach gives collectors a much more realistic understanding of the market. Paragraph 12. How to check your 1986 nickel. If you have a 1986 Jefferson nickel at home, begin your examination under good lighting. First, confirm the 1986 date on the obverse, and then check the area near the date for the mint mark. Next, examine Jefferson's portrait for unusual doubling, cracks, chips, or other abnormalities. Turn the coin over and inspect Monticello carefully for strong details and possible striking problems. Check the edge to make sure it has the expected smooth appearance. You can also weigh the coin with an accurate digital scale, remembering that normal production tolerances exist. Avoid using harsh chemicals, abrasive materials, or polishing products during your inspection. Take clear photographs of both sides if you want to compare your coin with collector references. If you discover something genuinely unusual, professional evaluation can help determine whether it is a legitimate mint error. The most valuable discovery is often not the oldest coin, but the coin with a rare combination of variety and condition. Careful examination is therefore the best habit for every coin collector. Paragraph 13. Collecting and preservation. Proper preservation is extremely important when collecting Jefferson nickels. Always hold your coin by its edges instead of touching the main surfaces with your fingers. Fingerprints contain oils and other substances that can eventually affect the surface of a coin. Store the coin in a suitable non-reactive holder or capsule designed for numismatic storage. Keep your collection away from excessive humidity, heat, chemicals, and other environmental hazards. Never clean an old or collectible coin simply because it looks dirty or dull. Original surfaces are highly valued by collectors, and cleaning can permanently reduce desirability. It is also a good idea to record the date, mint mark, grade, and purchase information for important coins in your collection. If you have several Jefferson nickels, organizing them by date and mint can make the collection much easier to study. Proper storage protects the coin while also making future identification easier. A carefully preserved 1986 nickel can remain part of your collection for generations. Paragraph 14. Why the 1986 nickel matters to collectors. The 1986 Jefferson nickel may not be one of the rarest coins in American history, but it still has an important place in modern U.S. numismatics. It represents nearly 50 years of the Jefferson nickel design and reflects everyday American life during the 1980s. The coin was used by ordinary Americans for purchases, vending machines, transportation, and countless other transactions. Today, each surviving example is a small piece of that period. Collectors can study the coin's mint mark, condition, production history, and possible errors to learn important lessons about numismatics. The coin is also affordable enough for beginners to start studying without spending large amounts of money. Advanced collectors can take the hobby further by searching for exceptional grades and unusual varieties. This makes the 1986 issue interesting at several different levels. A coin does not need to be worth hundreds of dollars to be historically meaningful. Sometimes the greatest value comes from the story the coin carries. Paragraph 15, Final Conclusion and Outro. The 1986 United States 5-cent Jefferson nickel is a fascinating example of American coinage from the 1980s. Although most circulated examples are common and normally worth little more than their face value, collectors should still examine them carefully for high grades, proof status, and genuine mint errors. We have covered the history of the Jefferson nickel, its design, composition, specifications, mint marks, production, varieties, errors, grading, preservation, and realistic value considerations. Remember that condition and authenticity are extremely important when determining collector value. Never believe an extraordinary price claim without checking reliable evidence and actual market sales. If you have a 1986 nickel, take a close look before putting it back into circulation. You may discover an interesting high-grade example or a genuine mint error that deserves further research. Thank you for watching Coin Grove, your destination for fascinating coin discoveries and numismatic stories. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more United States and world coin videos. And remember, every coin has a story, and sometimes the smallest coins can teach us the biggest lessons about history and collecting. Today we are looking closely at the 2022 Wilma Mankiller quarter, a modern United States quarter with a very important historical design. At first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary 25-cent piece. But when you study the reverse carefully, you can see that this is part of the Special American Women Quarters program. The program was created to honor women whose achievements helped shape the history of the United States. Wilma Mankiller was selected for the third 2022 design in this program. Her appearance on American currency makes this coin especially interesting to collectors and history enthusiasts. In this video, we will examine the design, inscriptions, composition, mint marks, condition, varieties, errors, and potential collector value. So before you spend a coin like this, stay with me until the end because some examples can be much more interesting to collectors than their face value suggests. U.S. Mint +1. Identifying the coin. The coin shown in your photographs is a United States quarter dollar dated 2022. Its denomination is 25 cents, making it part of the Washington quarter family. The obverse carries the familiar portrait of George Washington, while the reverse honors Wilma Mankiller. The date 2022 appears on the obverse below Washington's portrait. The coin has the standard quarter size and construction used for the circulating American women quarters. The standard copper nickel version has a diameter of approximately 24.26 millimeters and weighs about 5.67 grams. Its edge is reeded, just like other modern U.S. quarters. PCGS identifies the regular Wilma Mankiller quarter as a copper nickel coin. Your photographs show a circulated-looking example with visible surface marks and wear. Because the mint mark area is not sufficiently clear in the photographs, the exact P, D, or S designation should be checked directly on the coin. PCGS +1. The American Women Quarters Program. This coin belongs to the American Women Quarters Program, an important modern U.S. coin series. The United States Mint launched the program in 2022 to recognize women who made significant contributions to American history. The program was authorized as a 4-year initiative running from 2022 through 2025. The Mint planned 5 different quarter designs for each year of the program. The first 5 women honored in 2022 were Maya Angelou, Dr. Sally Ride, Wilma Mankiller, Nina Otero Warren, and Anna May Wong. That means the Wilma Mankiller quarter is one of 5 different designs from the first year. The Mint describes the program as the first U.S. coin program focused exclusively on recognizing women's contributions to the country. This gives the coin historical importance beyond its monetary denomination. For collectors, it also creates an interesting series because completing the entire program requires collecting many different designs. Therefore, this quarter should be viewed not only as spending money but also as a piece of modern American numismatic history. U.S. Mint +1. Paragraph 4. Who was Wilma Mankiller? Wilma Mankiller was a major figure in the history of the Cherokee Nation. She was born in 1945 in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, an important location in Cherokee history. Her name became internationally recognized through her leadership and public service. In 1987, she became the first woman elected principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. Her administration emphasized areas including healthcare, education, employment, and community development. According to the U.S. Mint, her leadership included efforts that produced significant improvements in Cherokee communities. Her story is therefore much larger than the image appearing on a quarter. The coin gives millions of people an opportunity to encounter her name and legacy through everyday currency. This is one reason modern commemorative-style circulating designs can be valuable educational tools even when they are not made from precious metals. When you hold this quarter, you are holding a small object connected to an important chapter of Native American and American history. U.S. Mint. Obverse design. Now let's examine the obverse, or head side, of the coin. The obverse features the familiar portrait of George Washington facing left. The word Liberty appears around the upper portion of the design. The national motto "In God We Trust" is also present. The year 2022 appears beneath the portrait. The Washington portrait used for the American Women Quarters was based on a design by Laura Garden Fraser. That design had originally been created as a candidate for the 1932 Washington Quarter. The Mint later used Fraser's portrait on the American Women Quarter series. On a normal circulating example, the Mint mark can help identify the production facility. For your particular coin, the photographs are not sharp enough around the Mint mark location to make a reliable P, D, or S identification, so that detail should be confirmed visually on the physical coin. U.S. Mint +1. Reverse design. The reverse is the most distinctive part of your coin because it honors Wilma Mankiller. Her portrait appears prominently in the design, facing toward the right. A 7-pointed star associated with the Cherokee Nation is included in the design. The design also incorporates her name and title in English and Cherokee. The U.S. Mint selected this artwork to represent Mankiller's leadership and legacy. The reverse was designed by United States Mint Artistic Infusion Program artist Benjamin Sowards. It was sculpted by Mint medallic artist Phoebe Hemphill. The design is therefore the result of several stages of artistic and technical work at the Mint. This reverse is also historically interesting because it includes Cherokee language on a circulating U.S. coin. For collectors, the combination of portraiture, symbolism, and language makes this one of the more distinctive modern quarter designs. PCGS. Paragraph 7. Composition and physical specifications. The regular circulating Wilma Mankiller quarter is made from copper nickel, not solid silver. This distinction is extremely important when estimating the value of a coin. A standard modern clad quarter should not automatically be described as a silver quarter simply because it looks bright or golden under strong lighting. The regular coin measures approximately 24.26 millimeters in diameter. Its standard weight is approximately 5.67 grams. The edge is reeded with many small grooves around the circumference. The copper-nickel construction gives the coin its familiar modern quarter appearance. Your photographs show strong lighting reflecting from the surface, which can make the metal appear more yellow or silver than it actually is. Collectors normally use a scale, caliper, magnet test where appropriate, and careful examination to investigate unusual pieces. For a serious identification, the coin should be weighed and its mint mark and edge examined rather than judging its metal solely from photographs. PCGS +1. Paragraph 8. Mint marks and different versions. One of the most important things to check on a 2022 Wilma Mankiller quarter is the mint mark. Regular business strike examples were produced at Philadelphia and Denver, while San Francisco also produced examples for collectors. A Philadelphia coin carries a P, while a Denver coin carries a D. San Francisco collector versions carry an S. The U.S. Mint sold uncirculated Wilma Mankiller quarters from Philadelphia and Denver. It also offered sets containing Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco examples. The San Francisco versions were produced for the collector market rather than normal circulation. Your photographs do not provide enough clarity to responsibly identify the mint mark. This is important because a professional coin description should never invent a mint mark that cannot actually be seen. If you send me a sharp close-up of the area around the date and mint mark, I can help you identify the visible marking more precisely. U.S. Mint +1. Paragraph 9. Is this coin rare? The answer depends heavily on the exact variety, mint, condition, and whether the coin has a genuine mint error. A normal circulated 2022 Wilma Mankiller quarter is generally not automatically a high-value rarity. It was created as a circulating quarter and was distributed into the American economy. That means millions of ordinary examples can exist. However, high-grade coins can attract collectors who specialize in modern Washington quarters. Certain unusual die varieties and genuine mint errors can also be more desirable. PCGS records specific varieties and error-related examples for this issue, showing why close examination can be worthwhile. One example listed by PCGS is a 2022P retained cud die break variety. Therefore, the correct message for viewers is not that every Wilma Mankiller quarter is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, but that unusual examples should be examined carefully before being spent. PCGS. Paragraph 10. Condition and grading. Condition is one of the biggest factors that can influence a modern coin's collector appeal. A coin that has been heavily circulated will usually show scratches, contact marks, dull surfaces, and loss of fine detail. A coin with little or no circulation can retain much sharper design features. Professional grading services use numerical grades to describe the condition of coins. For modern coins, collectors often pay particular attention to high mint state grades. The difference between an ordinary circulated example and a superb uncirculated example can be significant. Your photographed coin shows surface wear and marks, so it should not be advertised as a perfect mint state coin based on photographs alone. Strong lighting can also hide or exaggerate scratches and surface problems. A professional grade should only be assigned after careful physical examination. For your YouTube video, it is safer and more accurate to describe the coin as a circulated-looking example unless you have a certified grade. Paragraph 11. Errors and varieties to look for. Collectors should inspect the coin carefully for genuine mint-made errors rather than ordinary damage. A die crack or retained cud can sometimes create an unusual raised or missing area. Machine doubling and damage should not automatically be called valuable errors. Post-mint scratches, dents, discoloration, and environmental damage generally do not make a coin rare. The Wilma Mankiller issue has documented die variety and error-related examples. PCGS specifically lists a retained cud variety among the known Wilma Mankiller die varieties. That makes the coin worth checking under good magnification. However, a suspected error should be verified carefully before claiming a high value in a video. If your coin has an unusual feature, a clear macro photograph of both sides and the edge is the best way to investigate it. PCGS. Paragraph 12. Value and auction records. Let's talk about value without creating unrealistic expectations for viewers. The normal face value of this coin is 25 cents. Many circulated examples trade close to their ordinary monetary value. The collector market becomes more interesting when a coin has exceptional condition, a desirable variety, or a confirmed mint error. Certified high-grade examples can sometimes bring substantially more than face value. For example, PCGS records an auction result of $1,300 for a 2022P Wilma Mankiller example graded MS64 in a 2022 sale. PCGS also records a $2,500 auction result for a 2022D example graded MS68. These auction records should not be interpreted as the guaranteed value of every 2022 Wilma Mankiller quarter. They demonstrate how grade, certification, and market demand can dramatically affect individual sales. For your particular photographed coin, a precise market value cannot responsibly be stated without confirming the mint mark, condition, and any possible variety. PCGS +1. Paragraph 13. How to check your own coin. If viewers find a Wilma Mankiller quarter, the first step should be identifying the date. Next, they should examine the obverse for the mint mark and inspect the reverse for unusual characteristics. A magnifying glass or digital macro camera can reveal details that are difficult to see with the naked eye. The coin should also be weighed if there is a question about its composition or authenticity. Collectors should avoid cleaning the coin because cleaning can damage the original surface. Harsh chemicals, polishing cloths, and abrasive materials can reduce collector appeal. Instead, the coin should be handled by its edges whenever possible. If an unusual error appears genuine, photographs should be taken before attempting anything else. For potentially valuable coins, professional authentication and grading can provide stronger evidence than online claims. This careful approach prevents collectors from confusing normal circulation damage with genuine mint errors. Paragraph 14. Why this coin matters. The most important thing about this quarter is not necessarily its monetary value. It tells the story of a woman who became a major leader of the Cherokee Nation. It also represents a major change in the way American history is presented on circulating currency. The American Women Quarters program introduced millions of people to individuals from different backgrounds and fields of achievement. Wilma Mankiller's inclusion gives the series an important connection to Native American history and leadership. The coin's Cherokee language elements make the design particularly memorable. For collectors, modern coins like this can become historical records of the period in which they were produced. Even a circulated example can therefore have educational and collecting significance. Years from now, collectors may look back at these coins as an important series documenting American culture in the early 21st century. That is why it is worth learning the story behind the coin rather than judging it only by its face value. U.S. Mint +1. Paragraph 15. Final collector's verdict. So, what should you do if you find a 2022 Wilma Mankiller quarter like the one shown in this video? First, do not assume that every example is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Second, do not dismiss it as worthless simply because it is a modern quarter. Check the date, mint mark, condition, and design carefully. Look for genuine mint errors and documented varieties rather than ordinary scratches. Keep especially attractive uncirculated examples separate from heavily circulated coins. If you believe you have a major error or exceptional condition, consider professional authentication. The coin in your photographs is clearly an interesting 2022 Wilma Mankiller American Women Quarter, but the exact mint mark and grade cannot be established confidently from these images. Its greatest guaranteed value as a circulating coin is its 25-cent denomination, while collectible premiums depend on the specific example and current market demand. And remember, the real treasure here is also the story of Wilma Mankiller, preserved on a piece of American currency.